Hello everyone, welcome to Added Trade. Hope the Sunday is going well. Today in this video we're going to see how to place stop loss for options or future buying for intraday and how to trail the stop loss along with CPR, making use of even the CPR points, the pivot points and the resistance and the support points for placing stop loss. Before we go into the charts, I just want to explain about the Dove theory, because even trailing and placing stop loss will be based on this logic. So what is the simple Dove theory that suggests, right? What does it suggest is the market in an uptrend moves in this way. That is, it makes a high, it makes a low, it makes a high, it makes a low, then it makes a higher high, it makes a higher low. Now what is this higher high and higher low? Higher high is because this high is, the value of this will be higher than the previous high, so we term it as higher high. And what is higher low is this, the value of this. Say here Bank Nifty was at 37,023 and here the value is 37,147, so this is a higher low. So this is how the market moves in an up direction, and in a downtrend, when the market is going down, we move in this fashion. That is, we make a low, then we make a high, okay, then we make a lower low. What is this lower low? See here Bank Nifty is at 37,213. Over here Bank Nifty is at 37,129. So we have dipped 100 points. So this is a lower low compared to the previous low. And again we go up, make a lower high and go down. This is how we move in a downtrend. Now what is this lower high? See, this high is at 37,368. Right, and this lower high is at 37,240. So this value is lower compared to the previous high. So this is how the market moves in up and the downtrend. So we'll be making use of even this logic to place stop loss, whether it is options or futures. So along with the CPR pivots, what I'm going to be using. So I'm taking the example of a Bank Nifty chart, 5-minute Bank Nifty chart, and the most recent chart, the Friday's price action. Let's see where, if we had entered, where could have been the stop loss. How do we trail stop loss for futures and options? And I'm going to use this red line as the stop loss. Okay, for now we'll just keep it out of the chart, out of the price action. Now say on why we enter and all that is based on the technical. There's I put 2 or 3 videos on that, you can have a check. So let's discuss only on entries and placing stop loss in this video. Now say, assume you took a short entry at this candle, okay, and your first target was this R1 of CPR and the pivot. See this, if somebody is not aware of CPR, this is the CPR that I've added. CPR is nothing but central pivot range. This 3 lines that you see in the center are called is the CPR. Above you'll have R1, R2, R3, and below you'll have S1, S2, S3, that is support 1, support 2, support 3. Okay, soon I'll be coming up with CPR logic and how to trade on CPR. There's already a video, but the CPR reversal logic, I'll be coming up with a video, so please stay tuned. So for some reason, if you're shorted over here, okay, so where will you place your stop loss? And placing stop loss is one of the most important thing in day trading. Okay, never do intraday trading without placing stop loss. Never do a trade without having a stop loss in place. Okay, otherwise we will lose a lot of our capital. So assume that we shorted over here. Now where will I place my stop loss? Okay, we have made a lower high. We see we got a very bullish candle. We made a high, then we came down, we went up. Now it made a lower high, and we have rejected this R2 of CPR, and we were also close to a resistance based on the previous price action. So say I assume that we are going to slip further with R1 and the pivot as the target, and I shorted over here. So my stop loss will be high of this candle. If I've shorted here, high of this candle. Okay, for options, because in options we need to have a very close stop loss. In case if somebody is a future trader, if I've taken 1 lot futures, I can afford to keep my stop loss at this R2 as the pivot. See, in futures, say you're getting about 50-60 point stop loss, is even 100 point stop loss is okay, because one lot you'll be losing 5,000 if your stop loss is, if you have a 100 point stop loss. But in options, if you're an intraday trader, less capital, you can't keep 100 point stop loss. See, if you go with, if you have 4 lots, you have 100 point stop loss, you'll be losing 10,000 rupees. So we need to have a very tight stop loss. So high of this candle will be the stop loss for options. For futures, we can keep it at R2 of CPR. We can afford to keep it at R2 of CPR. But depending on the capital and one's appetite for loss, right? Even in futures, you can go with the tight stop loss. It's always better. That is high of this candle. Now, when do we know that stop loss is hit? We need to book the stop loss and get out. Like, how do we know that, right? See, a lot of times what happens is, see, again the next candle came, tested the same line, and then we started moving down, right? So stop loss, we need to take it on closing basis. Now, what is this closing basis is? Say if a candle, this is your stop loss line that you have marked. Say if a candle goes above this and closes. So for that, you can even shift. Now I'm on a 5-minute chart. So to get a better exit for your stop loss, you can even shift to a 3-minute chart. Now say if any candle closes above this, okay, see, a candle can go and come down. So let's wait. That's why we shift to a lower time frame. See, in lower time frame, you can see it never crossed this red line, right? So wait for a candle to go above your stop loss and close above this. If it closes above this red line, that's when you exit and take your stop loss and exit. See, maybe your view was bearish, right? Say if your view was bearish and you placed your stop loss at this red line, and let me just get rid of this drawing. Now, say assume your view was bearish for the day. My view was bearish, and a candle, I placed stop loss, but a candle went above this, and then again we started slipping. You can always re-enter, okay, but take your stop loss. Do not, now say assume that we started moving higher and just blasted on the upside. We will lose heavy on the options, right? So always take stop loss, and we can always re-enter. There is no problem in re-entry. Pay extra brokerage, re-enter, but the motive should be not to lose your capital, especially in options intraday trading. So now, based on this entry that I've given, we have placed a stop loss. Now, how do we trail a stop loss? Based on this Dove theory logic that I explained, right? For the downward movement, we make a low, high, lower, low, lower, high. We move down this way. So based on that, now let's see how we can see. We should always have our targets and stop loss decided before entering the trade, right? So this is a stop loss. Our first target is R1, and say our second target is this CPR pivot line, any of the CPR pivot lines, right? So we started moving down. We made a low. Then we came up, okay, then again we started slipping. So until now your stop loss is still here. Since this R1 of CPR broke, making use of CPR, we can trail the stop loss here. Now, so we are sure some part of the profit is booked, like not booked, but if a candle closes above this R1, we will take a stop loss, at least some profit we have right now. So this is our trailing stop loss. Now we made a low, we made another high, again we slipped further down, right? So we bring a stop loss to this level because we made a lower high. This is what, first we made a high, lower low, then we made a lower high, again we made a lower high, so we bring a stop loss here. Then see the price action. Again we dipped, we came very close to the pivot. Ideally we could have booked profits here. Now say I'm having even a more bearish view that we are going to hit S1 of CPR. I don't want to book my profits here, but I want to trail. So you wait and see. Right now my stop loss line is here. If this green candle had come and closed above this, I would have just blindly taken my stop loss. But what happened today is what happened on Friday is we went up, again started slipping. So immediately I'll bring my stop loss here. So I have got few more points now. Okay, I'm still in profit. I'm still in good profit. Then again we made a low, we went high. Okay, again we dipped. So now I'll bring my stop loss here. I'll just remove this drawing so it'll be more clear. So as of now we have bought a stop loss still here, right? Then what happened? The price went down. The best, if we hadn't exited here, if say for some reason if I hadn't exited here, the best exit was here, because at CPR you're getting in Morningstar price action, which is a good bullish price action at a pivot point. So this was a good exit. Now say in case I didn't exit at this point, right? I'm hoping that market will fall even more, but I placed my stop loss here. So the next we made another high, okay, and again we dipped. So this time I bought my stop loss even lower over here, right? And since we are at the CPR pivot, right, we can also make use of this pivot point. I can even bring my stop loss to the pivot point. So if any candle closes above this pivot, I will exit. Okay, that's how we can make use of CPR and Dow theory for placing stop loss. This works beautifully. Now I bought it to the pivot line. The center point in this 3 lines is the CPR pivot. So I bought it to the pivot line. Exactly at this candle, I will exit. And I've got the major chunk of the move for the day from here till here. I've got around 470 points. See, exiting here and waiting now, if I had such a strong conviction that we are going to hit S1, and if I'd waited, the profits from here to here, it would not be much. Obviously, this would be more profit if you exit here, but it would not be much. But what if the market is so bullish, right? Nifty and Bank Nifty. What if Bank Nifty had reversed and gone back, right? I would have lost almost everything. I'll show you another example as well, where if I hadn't taken my stop loss, we reversed almost the entire move and we would have seen a big loss. So this one example, I would have exited here, or the trailing stop loss, I would have bought it very close to this pivot line, and the moment it closed above this pivot, I would have exited. Now the same Friday, let's look at Nifty, because we did have a good downtrend and then immediately started going up. Now again, let me I'll make use of this red line as stop loss. Now say again in Nifty also we have CPR. We have the central pivot range. These 3 lines are the CPR, R1, R2 and S1 and S2, S3. Okay. So now say after this price action, this candle, right? See, all this price action was showing there is some bearishness on Nifty. Some pressure is there to go on the downside. This was a good confirmation, this candle. I have not marked the exact candle. This candle was a very good candle to short. And now where will I keep my stop loss? My stop loss will be R1, because we are right at the pivot R1, right? So my stop loss is R1. If any candle closes above this R1, I would have taken my stop loss. Okay. So after shorting over here and placing the stop loss at R1, let's see what happened and how we could have trailed the stop loss. See, we made a low, then we went high. Okay. Again we dipped. So I'll place my stop loss here. And the first target is this pivot range. Okay. This pivot. The CPR range, the CPR pivot points is the first target. So again we went higher and came down. So I'll bring my stop loss to this level. Just removing the diagrams. I bought my stop loss now till here. Again, what happened? The price went down. Went down, came up. Again we came down. So I'll bring my stop loss here. Now, either we could have booked profit here based on this price action. We are so close to the CPR, we have got a good dip, and the price action is showing there could be a bullish reversal from here. Either we could have booked profits here. If not, a trailing stop loss is here. We would have taken the stop loss here. Because we closed above our stop loss. We have trailed the stop loss until here. If we had not booked profits here, the price started immediately moving up. On this candle, we would have taken our stop loss. Yes, we did lose much. Yes, I did lose some of the profits, right? See, if that's why exiting also at the pivot point is very important. See, here it was 88 points down. Now, if I take trailing stop loss here, I'm only 46, but still I'm in profit. Now, what if we hadn't kept a stop loss? Now, say we entered here, okay, I entered here, and what if I had not trailed the stop loss? I had kept my stop loss here only. See what happened on this day. We came down, we saw so much profit. The best exit was here based on the price action. We didn't exit and we went all the way up, and over here we would be in loss. If we were in options, we would be in loss. So this is why even trailing stop loss is important. If your stop loss hits, there's no problem. We can always re-enter depending on the risk appetite and the capital one is using for trading. Now just assume I place my stop loss here. Now say for some reason the price went and it didn't go further up, it started going down. It came up, closed above this line and started going down. In that case, we can always re-enter if the previous low breaks. Now say I put this red, if this red line breaks, or if we get a bearish price action based on however I take entries, I can re-enter, but at least I've booked some good amount of profits, right? So this is one classic example in case we don't trail a stop loss, and if we didn't book, see, if we enter here and keep the stop loss here, we came here, saw big profits, went up and saw loss for the day. This is what happens in intraday trading. See, in intraday trading should be traded completely different how we take a positional trade. See, for a positional trade, yeah, I can probably short calls over here and even carry forward for the next day, okay, based on your view, building and all that, based on the scenario. But for intraday, we can't afford to take the chance. We see good profits. We are at close to an important support or a pivot point in CPR. Just book profits and trail stop loss so that we don't lose much of our profits as well. Now just assume that we missed all this down trade. We didn't take it. I didn't take it. My view was bullish, so I was waiting for a signal to buy. Now just assume I entered long here. I bought options or futures. And for Nifty, if we had shorted here, right, let me just tell, for futures, you can even keep this high as the day as stop loss for futures. For options, always the closest wick or the CPR pivot point. Now just assume on this day, I was waiting for a dip to buy and I did get a dip until the CPR. Now I'm ready to buy. I went long here. How will I place my stop loss? If I go long here, right, buy into the market, my first stop loss will be low of this wick. I'll just get rid of this diagram. My first stop loss for options will be low of this wick. For futures, yes, I can even afford to keep it until this pivot point is affordable, because in futures, it's the placing stop loss is slightly better than in options. Options, we need to be very tight. So I'll keep low of this candle as stop loss. And what happened here? Okay, we went high, we made a low, then again we started going high. So in this case, I'll bring my stop loss to this point. Then we made a high. Again, we started slipping. But here, see, my stop loss is still here, right? So I didn't trail. Stop loss didn't hit. If this candle for some reason had come below this, I would have taken my stop loss. And I would have, whatever points I would have caught for intraday, I would have been happy with that. Now let's see what happened on this day if we didn't exit our target. Now on the upside, what is our target? Okay, the target, if I enter here, what is my first target is R1. So we made a low, again started going up, so I trailed my stop loss. Again we got a dip. I'll trail my stop loss here. Then we hit a target of R1. We could have booked profits here, or say I still have a bullish view. I'm very adamant that Nifty is going even more. but I don't want to lose some of my profits. I want to trail my stop loss. What I'll do is I'll immediately trail my stop loss to R1. Okay. So the moment this candle's closed below R1, I would have exited. Okay. Now say I didn't exit, I trailed my stop loss until here. We went, now on this candle we went above R1. So immediately bring stop loss to R1. Any close below R1 I would have exited, and after this fall, this candle closed below the CPR R1. This was a good exit. See, if we hadn't exited here, this fall would have made us again go in loss. Say over here for one lot I would have seen plus say 3000. Okay, and if I hadn't taken stop loss here, with this fall I would have been in minus 1000. That is what happens in options. In futures also same. In futures you would be in like what, say on 10.500 or 600 rupees profit after seeing about like say 2 or 3000 rupees profit here for one lot. So this is with examples. I've shown you how to trail stop loss, and this, just try and see if this works. This works beautifully. I play stop loss this way. I do a lot of scalping, so I take quick trades, and my stop loss will be the pivot points. So this is how I trade, and this is how we can play stop loss. I'll try to put up a video where I record a live video of me trading using with trailing stop loss, and see if I can put that up anytime next week. So that's it. Hope this helps, and hope you like this video. If you do, please like this video and subscribe to this channel. We'll be coming up with more videos like this. Thank you.